And here we are, after a lovely drive in our Halloween car, to now tackle our next subject of Halloween here, the theme of death, or near death in some cases. The death of a loved one can be a very scary venture to deal with, or in this case, the death of a beloved studio here and there. For now, as my good old dear colleague, Dr. Professor Dwayne Harley, finally joins us after his hiatus from the first movie, Addams Family 2, comes now to discuss the concept of death and how such a concept nearly afflicted Disney in 1985. Dr. Professor Dwibbs, if you will.
Dr. Professor?
Well, first of all, why did you make me walk all the way here while you guys got to drive in your car? You could just pick me up.
Dweebs, your message stated clearly that you were already waiting for us.
Yeah,
I
did.
I got lost.
Also, I could have sworn you could teleport.
I meant to post it when I got there, but for some reason it just flew out of my hands and ended up in your guys' laps.
Well, that's besides the point at this point. So what is this thing?
So anyway, welcome everyone to 1985's The Black Cauldron, co-directed by Ted Berman, who had been at Disney since the days of Bambi, and of which this would be his last film before retiring.
Ooh.
And Richard Rich.
So what you're telling me is that not only did this probably kickstart Richard Rich's fall from grace, but this was essentially how Ted Berman, a guy who'd been around since Bambi, Bambi, one of the Golden Age films, ended his career with the film that nearly killed Disney.
Yes, okay, to put it this way, the 80s weren't exactly a golden era for Disney financially, I should say.
Hell, ever since Jungle Book, Disney were in what we often call
trouble.
their dark age.
Okay.
Yeah, trouble.
I thought people liked Jungle Book.
No.
After that, remember
After
that Disney died after that.
Yeah,
so the company kind of went into a panic frenzy for almost 2 decades.
I mean, even back in the late 80s when they were making The Little Mermaid and Jeffrey Katzenberg take over, according to Jeffrey Katzenberg, the animators at the studio were still constantly going, what would Walt do? What would Walt do? And it was Jeffrey who had to actually step up and say, guys, we're not Walt. Let's just make the movie based on what we feel like we can do.
But we're not at that point, sadly, timeline-wise.
So this movie, it was originally supposed to come out in 1984. However, new Disney chairman, a guy I'm pretty sure you all know by the name of Jeffrey Katzenberg, ordered scenes be cut. And apparently, despite Joe Hale's objections, Katzenberg responded by just bringing the film into an editing bay and trying to edit the thing himself.
He went full Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
It took
That's some level of spite, but yeah, go on.
It took Michael Eisner, having been told by Hale about what was happening, to call him in the editing room and basically say, "Dude, stop."
Cut that out.
And while he did do what he said, he still wanted the film to be modified and delayed from Christmas 1984 to July of 1985. It got cut by 12 minutes. A lot of scenes were rewritten, including bits involving character interactions for the most part.
So I guess the big question is, was Jeffrey Katzenberg's effect to this movie's help or its detriment? Because...
Well, from what I understand, the film wasn't going too well anyway, so...
No, if Jeffrey Katzenberg had his way, this movie probably would have never come out because of how bad it is, Joe. So.
And probably as the biggest justification for Jeffrey Katzenberg's actions, he felt that Disney executives at the time were way too old-fashioned in their thinking. Not really, they were thinking still more of the 40s as opposed to the 80s.
Okay, this leads me to one speculation of mine. What Jeffrey cut away were actual musical pieces, because the movie doesn't have them. So I wonder if originally they were supposed to be, and those were the things that were cut away.
So would that make him your hero for this movie, then?
And,
we'll see.
And as I was saying, after the film flopped at the box office, I'll get to the box office in a second. He used this to basically tell the older executives who he thought was out of touch, to basically tell them, "I told you so."
He's
And
don't
he
get
would
me,
end up becoming more influential at Disney as a result of the film's disaster.
don't get me wrong, he's an asshole, but he may have had a few points here and there, especially in regards to this movie.
There is one positive thing of note regarding this film.
The box office.
No.
Positive.
Well, maybe
This was the unless you count Return to Oz, which I don't really. It didn't really use it fully. This was the first movie to properly and fully use the classic blue Disney logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yay.
this film, the film that nearly killed Disney, was the first one to use the classic one that I remember the most when I was a kid.
I mean, another positive is that it's really short.
Wait, didn't the Great Musketeers use it also?
No. If it did, that was probably an edited version later on.
Later
Anyway.
editions.
Yeah, that being said, yeah, also this Disney film was Disney's attempt to bring about what will later be known as the Disney Princess franchise. That's right, they had a new character all lined up to be a Disney princess. How did it turn out?
Killed the company.
The actual you know what's sad? The actual Disney princess in this movie acts less like a Disney princess than our protagonist. But
Oh, you think that's rich? You think that's rich, Jova? If you watch the trailer for the 90s VHS release, the trailer basically describes a plot that's not actually even in the movie.
Anyway, yeah, let's go. There's more behind-the-scenes stuff to laugh at later on. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So this is actually based on a series of fantasy movies called The Chronicles of Prydain. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, which apparently Shiri are based on Welsh mythology. And this being adapts in a very, apparently from what I've been told, adapts in a very abridged, weird version. The first 2 books with elements of a third in an incohesive mess. And I can't believe that because it has like a flipping 11 people credited for writing the story.
No, I mean I think you guys even mentioned at one point that's common for animated films.
Also, for some specific trivia, the movie My Country is instead called with the title Taron and the Magic Pot.
So basically, yes.
Hilarious.
So basically, our plot is literally about a pot apparently holding the essence of this evil, oh my god, so terrible king. Which will do something. Okay, yeah, let's talk about Katzenberg for a bit here. The guy had no shortage of enemies he made in the big world for being, quite forceful, let's just say. Okay, to be fair, not forceful in the icky way, thank Christ, but no, more like asshole. That being said, I do think he deserves some credit for being part of the reason that Disney eventually were able to get their heads back on straight with the Renaissance era. Again,
Also, sorry, go on.
he had to be the bad guy, but tell them, guys, we can't just try and think what Walt would do. We need to think outside the box.
And I respect that.
Also,
if you want to know how Disney feels about the Black Cauldron, here you go. But I posted a picture from the Mickey Mouse short.
That being said, there were some people who mentioned during the final thoughts. But for starters, let me tell something positive. I like the animation. It's unlike something like, say, Robin Hood, it doesn't recycle too much stuff from the past. So at least there's already
Has
something.
Disney ever made a film with bad animation, but besides Lion King, but we don't count that.
Chicken
The
Little.
live action.
Wait. You just said a movie with bad animation, but live action?
No, I said that isn't the Lion King live action.
No, that's what I was about to say.
Well, that's what I said,
Reggie, wait
Chicken
till we
Little.
see. Well, Reggie, like me and Liz would tell you, wait till we see the green screen in this movie later on.
Yeah, okay. I know I might come off as a bit picky, but for some reason, I mentioned this when I watched this film with Pedro a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, if you told me this film was made in 1985, I wouldn't believe you. This film was like it was made in 1955.
Well, I guess it was them trying to go back to their roots. Also, hey there, Peter Pan.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He looks like Peter Pan.
Well,
This is our protagonist, Taron, or his own
thing,
country's
though,
Tauron.
But that's the thing, though. It's like you guys said, Katzenberg had a point they were so focused on trying to emulate the classic Walt formula that people were starting to get sick and tired of it, and well, this happened.
You want to
What's
know what?
funny is that these days, what's funny is that these days, this kind of animation will be actually very welcome.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hence the time is a flat circle
Yeah.
line because people are tired of the Disney CGI looking the same.
Roger Ebert calls it a quote-unquote rip-roaring tale.
Rip roaring. What film was he watching?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
So,
this is
watch the Care
also
Bears movie instead?
this also starts a trend that Disney still having to this day, mind you, of the fact that they can't seem to actually managing a decent, proper medieval fantasy franchise overall.
they tried with Narnia and then just gave up because...
Yeah.
Oh, but, okay, you know what's sad about the Narnia franchise? They only gave up because it wasn't making Lord of the Rings numbers with the second film, and I'm like, guys, maybe try building it up properly, and not
Were those
everything needs
movies
to
good,
be...
though? Like, after the first one?
Wait, what?
Were they good?
Okay. First one, good. Second one, yeah, has flaws, but still good. Have not seen the third one, but considering how Fox didn't even try again after that film, I don't exactly have high hopes.
So our protagonist, Taran, is a boy who's stuck at guarding animals for a farmer, but he wishes to be actually a knight.
I swear he acts more like a
the-
Disney princess than our actual princess in this movie.
At least he doesn't sing.
Oh, wait till you see this. This is his pet pig.
Yeah.
As for the film's box office, I alluded
Actually,
to
for the
earlier,
budget, just to put in context.
on a budget of $44 million, it only made $21.3 million, which is already ouchy enough. But, yes, this is true, it made less money than the Care Bears film.
Ouch.
I swear, I've seen this character design from a previous Disney movie as
Which came
well.
out
Sword in
the
the
same
Stone.
year.
Sword in the Stone and Aristocats.
Yes,
Glover.
Edgar, definitely.
Yeah, basically, not only did the Care Bears movie cost less to make more, it just flat out made more.
Honestly, Care Bears was a better movie than this.
Also, fun fact: Dalben here, the master of Taron, is actually voiced by Freddie Jones, who's being famous for doing movies like Dune, the David Lynch Dune, Firefox.
Wasn't
let's
he
see what's
in Neverending Story 3?
Yes,
So, as for the-
I think it was the.
He was the librarian, or
I think it was the librarian.
As for the music of this film, it was composed by Elmer Bernstein.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, was it
Ghostbusters
Yeah,
fame.
he was the Ghostbuster composer.
Okay.
Interesting choice.
So, guys, I kid you not, the plot literally gets kicking around because the pig senses something.
Yeah, we got
From what
the
I've been
amazing
told, by the readers, this is something that was actually in the book, and this pig has magical abilities of the weird kind. So there is at least that, I guess.
And when?
Yeah, the pig has powers.
Hold on.
Disney is going to buy Fox.
Sure.
In fact, they'll also buy Lucasfilm.
Seriously, it's like they didn't update the sound quality of their
then
microphones
looks
from
like-
Walt's era.
It looks like he's hypnotizing Hanwen.
If
Come on, guys,
anything,
it's
it's...
85. Get decent
He
microphones.
actually did, Pedro.
Jesus.
Yeah,
There we
but
go.
also the eyes. Also, yeah, this allows the pig to actually use some kind of clairvoyance.
Of course. And before
Also,
you ask everybody,
recycle the image from Fantasia.
That
Cute.
too. And before you ask everybody, no, the movie will not explain how the hell this pig has this power.
Okay, this is another thing. Disney, this sort of stuff may have worked in
The 40s.
the Golden Age, let's be fair. As soon as you reach the Silver Age, this stuff would have been iffy. By the time of the Bronze Age, just No, you needed to explain this stuff better. You can't just distract people with pretty visuals.
It also didn't help that the beginning narration, which is pivotal for any fantasy story, is done in a still image and it's rushed very quickly. They could have spent at least a couple of minutes more.
I wonder if this was one of the bits that Katzenberg was trying to cut for the film.
Hey, Jova.
Yeah?
Hey, Jova. Introducing something weird and never explaining it. And this is a Richard Rich film. Yep, it fits.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm gonna try and be fair to Richard Rich, because again, the guy up to this point had done nothing but good. It's like, it feels, again, that's the thing, this movie feels like it's cursed. Because after this, yeah, his career kind of, well, okay, I'll say this. Alpha and Omega 1 and Swan Princess 1, they were decent enough movies. It was their sequels that are just, God, no. Oh wait, he also made The King and I after this. God damn it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that movie is an atrocity as far as I'm
Also,
concerned.
this film has quite the extensive creator killer segment on TV tropes. Ron Miller, who was at Disney at the time, after the film wasn't able to get out in a reasonable amount of time, not only did he get ousted from Disney, he never worked in Hollywood again, eventually moving into the winery business.
But you know
Gonna
what?
walk the pig.
Hey, Shuroi.
Yeah?
Oh, sorry.
So, Shuroi, how about we talk about the number of writers involved with this movie? I recall you had a fun little thing to say about that.
Meanwhile,
Well,
in
how
Baradur,
11 people can make a movie this boring?
You heard that right, folks.
Shiroi. One single writer, not even two, not even three, can make a movie this bad alone. It takes
Also-
11 with concentrated effort.
I will say another thing that I actually like about the movie, at least the tone, and especially the villain, the Horn King. This thing is fucking creepy.
I mean, I'll admit, as a kid, it scared me. Nowadays, I just wonder, what is this guy? What's his deal? And I know something like we don't
They
really...
mentioned in the beginning narration, Jova.
No,
like,
hold
again,
on. Let me finish. I'm more asking, why is he like this? He's essentially Skeletor's drunken cousin or something. Like,
Yeah.
is he like an undead guy? Is that what his deal is? I mean,
He's a necromancer. He wants to, Jesus Christ, don't kill me. He wants the Black Cauldron to resurrect the army of the dead and take over the world.
So basically, he has the exact same plan as Quan Chi and Shansung in the Alliance. Gotcha.
Basically.
Okay. See, allow me to add to what you was saying. See, here's the thing. No, yeah, to his credit, yeah, he does. I love his design. His look, and again, the animation, the moody animation, does a good job in making him look intimidating.
And John Hurt does do a good job voicing him.
Yeah, and John Hurt's performance is also really good as well. The issue is that, the problem is that in order to make a compelling villain, even scary villain, it takes more than just scary looks. You need to
He
actually
looks like
have...
Skeletor.
I literally just said
Pedro
he's...
mentioned it.
No.
Sorry, Jova mentioned it.
I literally just said he's essentially Skeletor's drunken cousin, because for as cool as he looks, he does nothing throughout this movie.
So Skeletor.
No.
Skeletor helped a bunch of children during Christmas. So.
And hell, Skeletor at least fights here and there. And also, I'll just say this, I think part of this movie's problem is, again, it relies mainly on its visuals and nothing more. Like, it wants to be taken seriously by having these dark and edgy bits here and there, then contrasted with these more brighter sections, but whatever.
Well, to be honest, Jova, these are still tame. It's later on where we get the contrast that fucking,
This was actually,
fucking grating.
Since you say that, Joe, this was actually kind of a problem with a lot of animated films back in the 80s. A lot of animated films back in the 80s... Okay, let me put it this way. They suffered from what Lewis Carroll would call insecurity. When it comes to these things, I always go to Lewis Carroll's famous quote: "When I became an adult, I decided to let go of anything childish, including the fear of being caught doing something childish."
Also, Taron is left-handed, surprisingly.
Oh god, he's going to grow up to be
Or at
Sephiroth.
least he was in that animation. Wonder what happened there.
Good job, Taron. Good job. Wow, we were only 12
You-
minutes in.
Actually,
Wow.
Actually, he had only one job.
Wait a minute,
so
wait a
there's
minute,
even
wait a
that.
minute,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute,
You
wait a
only
minute.
had one fucking job, Taran,
Wait.
and
And
you've
you
already
fucked
fucked
it
everything
up.
up.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute, hold on. We went from the background to from
Oh.
Sleeping.
He's in the evil forest in Snow White.
Hold on.
Please no.
We went from Sleeping Beauty to Snow White all of a sudden in those backgrounds. What the heck? Oh no.
Yeah, I think he's about to. Oh, there it is. That, I
And
guess
that's
didn't
it.
take long.
The movie's dead.
You want something that everyone ate, including me?
Me the
This
Jar Jar
fucking
Binks of this movie.
Honestly,
Gorgie, this fucking critter.
no, honestly, this guy makes Jar Jar Binks seem likable by comparison. Heck, I even as
I
a
refuse to believe that.
This
yo,
thing is not this thing is not racist. So there's
What the
that.
hell? What
Wait,
the hell
Jar Jar's
happened?
racist?
So
yes.
that's a topic for another time
What
because
the hell happened? What the hell
also-
happened to Geppetto?
also I don't nothing against the actor John Viner because I've seen his career and the guy seemed to have had a passion for everything he did, mostly TV stuff, you know. But again, they slapped this kind of Smeagol like filter on top of his voice, and it doesn't help that the characterization of this fucking creature is atrocious. It is just that bad.
Oh, but hey, don't worry. The voice isn't just bad. The character is terrible, writing wise as
I
well.
just said it.
He has a Jar Jar voice. Oh no.
Oh, no, Jar Jar has a different type of
no.
filter in his voice. This guy is an asshole. And look, I get it. Maybe it's part of the setting. You know, his species is supposed to be a trickster variety of some kind. But it just destroys basically the plot instead of the way they actually handle it.
And like Dibs mentioned, he looks like a mutated Geppetto. Why?
No, Geppetto's persona.
Oh my, do it that, no.
But seriously though, no, I will take Jar Jar Binks 10 times over this guy. Hell, Jar Jar at
Okay.
least got better as a character over time. This guy, I'd argue he gets worse, and yet the movie wants us to like him.
So,
He's the Disney sidekick.
So,
The comic release sidekick is like, oh.
in terms of Disney's reaction to the film after it came out, around the time of the film's release, well, just before, they opened a Black Cauldron themed restaurant called Gurgi's Munchies and Crunchies.
Oh God.
The film bombed, they closed the restaurant down and remodeled it into a one themed after Beauty and the Beast, which got replaced by a Robin Hood one.
They seriously were banking on this movie being such a big success that they made spin-off material for it.
And
To the
unlike
point where
a
they
lot of
made
their
a
other
restaurant.
And unlike a lot of their other films, which normally took a few years to come to Blu-ray, so not to home media in general, remember, this film was released in 1985. It didn't get a home video release until 1998.
Yep.
And
And trust me, everybody, that trailer for that VHS is quite hilarious if you know what the
And,
movie's plot is.
and it only got, and here's the thing, it only got a Blu-ray release in 2021 via the Disney Movie Club. It means this is the last post-Walt traditionally animated film to get that one.
Man, this dragon must be really fucking hungry. Is this? I mean, will that pig really feed you that much?
No, they actually servants of the Horned King and they want to get it.
Well, I wanted to mention that when it becomes relevant, though.
There was a rumor going around that apparently the reason Black Cauldron didn't come to home media sooner was because of the Little Mermaid. I don't really
Okay.
believe that.
Also,
myself.
blood.
Okay.
In a Disney movie?
What? Well, come on. We'd had blood before in Disney movies.
Yeah, I know.
You can tell, Bojo, that shot was too
Hey,
shocking. Look, guys, we're
look,
trying
another
to be more
sleeping.
edgy.
Look at that, another Sleeping Beauty shot. Seriously, guys, we get it.
Actually, I think it was more based on, well, not based, but at least potentially recycled from Sword in the Stone.
Oh, here we go. Dibs gone.
Oh God,
the-
those outlines.
Look at this beautiful green
the blue
screen.
screen. A lot of times the editing of the animated scenes onto the backgrounds is horrible.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is
How
a
the hell
problem.
do you even screw this up? You're
I wonder
Disney.
I wonder if this is a problem that is more accentuated by the HD version.
I'm curious. How did that?
Because I kind of got
bad.
similar vibes. Okay, not to this extent, but I did mention that I got similar vibes in The Secret of Nim.
It's one of those. It's one of those cases where
movie that had this.
Yes,
it's one of
it
those
is that
cases
bad,
where-
Dej.
like Teo said, Deji, it's one of those cases where this trick was used because back then, like Teo said, we didn't have HD. We weren't able to see as much detail on the picture as we can now. So, so filmmakers, okay, that's okay. Nobody's going to notice because the picture is not that clear anyway. But now, we actually can indeed check that negative and actually see exactly every single little pixel that was animated, and as a result, the flaws become more apparent.
Also,
It's like an Adult Swim show. And
Also
those are
to-
meant to be parody.
Also, to put in comparison, though, Secret of Nim had a very small budget, like 7 million. I forgot specifically what.
Seven,
And it was done by a crunch team in Don Bluth's garage. These had 44 million and AAA studio behind it. Yeah.
Seriously, again,
I get what they were trying to do to blend, because this is not the only thing that they do. They try to blend in both animation and live action in some capacity, So again, in order to try to see to show ambition in it, but yeah.
honestly,
Oh, and go on.
I think it speaks volumes that despite his assholery, Jeffrey Katzenberg was probably the closest thing to a voice of reason during this movie's conception. Yes, the man who tried to edit it himself against the wishes of the maker may have been the one who was the most, well, I don't want to say in the right, but yeah, the most sane in regards to stuff. Like, this movie, like Dead said, is that bad.
And the Black Cauldron even had a video game
Oh, he did?
from Sierra. Back in 1986.
Oh, I guess it's a point-and-click one. Yeah, it resembles King's Quest. Sure, why not? Also, that leaves to my
Hey,
next...
Maleficent's hideout background animation.
Also, that leaves to my next question. Despite the movie's reputation and everything, Kingdom Hearts World, yes or no?
No, just
No.
look.
I can see it.
Mind you,
working.
Jova, it's not the first time Kingdom Hearts has tackled a franchise, included a franchise that had not much recognition, people had forgotten or was poorly received at launch.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
I can see it working if they change enough.
Yeah, how much would they have to change though before it becomes unrecognizable? That's the
That's
thing.
a big Jova.
Hold
The
on.
basics.
This movie essentially just takes stuff from better Disney movies, let's be honest. Like, the Creepy Castle, better done in Sleeping Beauty. Creepy Forest, better done in Snow White. Stuff which we've already seen in Kingdom Hearts here and there. Like,
All right.
I just don't
You
see
just
the
answered your own
point.
question.
I feel like since this is trying to do the classic Disney homage, there's a huge difference between doing a homage and just blatantly trying to copy it. Like, the animation style, fine, but like in terms of storytelling and whatnot, it's like, no, come on. This is.
Although,
I know. We're only 20 minutes into this, and I'm getting at that level of annoyance.
one guy who was actually did kind of enjoy the film.
Go ahead.
The author of the book this film was loosely based on, Lloyd Alexander, mostly because he didn't feel it was an adaptation of his work anyway.
So basically, it was the World War Z effect.
That also,
Let me use
that
a-
also sounds like a backhanded compliment.
Let me use an example. The reason Saruman from Lord of the Rings is intimidating is not just because he's played by Christopher Lee, although yes, also takes a huge part of it. It's also because Saruman is an incredible villain with that's very intimidating, and he has Machiavellic motivations and everything, and he's genuinely a threat to everybody. Whereas in here, for most of the movie until the climax, all the Horn King really does is just stay there and be super intimidating with my voice.
Like I said, he
But
does
doesn't actually
nothing.
do any. But doesn't actually do anything. He just stays there.
Let me see who voices the Goblin Servant. Let me see.
Also, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is another problem with the movie. The plot is too silly to take serious. Well, okay, what little of it there is, Dwibs, is too silly to be able to take seriously. Why? This is literally a kid and a big horned evil king fighting for a pig. That's it. And yes, I get that the pig has powers.
It's supposed to be Disney trying to be darker.
I get that this is the pig has powers, but couldn't you? Okay, I get it. The pig is a MacGuffin. I get it. But couldn't you come up with a better MacGuffin so that it doesn't come across as just two people fighting over a pig? It just comes across as silly in a lot of times, especially now. I really have to wonder what John Hurt thought when he read that line.
You can have the most threatening voice you want. He still said pig.
Also, I think I saw a frame that was only a sketchboard.
Hey, Jova. Here, you be the director. I presume that you are the owner of this oracular pig. Wait, oracular pig? Really? Is this the line? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Jova wasn't responding, so...
Oh god, I forgot I was muted.
Whoops.
You're too slow.
Oop. Very good, John. Very good. Try to take the scene as seriously as possible. We're sure this movie will be a resounding success.
And like Jova said, yeah, the fact that we don't really this pig just has powers just because, and yeah, by 1985 we expected at the very least a bit of context.
I mean,
Just
again,
maybe the books explain it, and this was cut out from the final film. But well,
I guess here's the thing: Disney, by their Silver Age, explained their stories better than this. Like, with Sleeping Beauty, we know enough about Maleficent. She is a vile creature who wasn't invited to a party. Silly motivation, maybe, but when you realize how evil she is, you can understand her need for disproportionate retribution. Also, seriously, the Horn King just got beaten by water.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Sleeping Beauties is the old, they're fairies, they're magical. Okay, that's fine. The thing is, they never establish anything behind. Okay, maybe they could. Oh, maybe this pig was enchanted by a fairy and some time ago. Maybe like anything.
I'm
just
sorry.
Anything,
I'm sorry. I have to laugh. Our big bad villain was defeated by the contents of a bowl being splashed on his face.
Brilliant.
And it just had pig saliva in it.
It's like a. It really is. As a result, the pig just comes across as just like this thing could have been a crystal ball.
Also, seriously, how is the entire staff of the kingdom being outsmarted by this doofus?
Okay, how about this? Let me be a bit more constructive. Okay, the lack of explanation for the pig's powers could have been at the very least made up by having a good, a good owner-pet relationship.
And then she drowns.
Brilliant. But yeah, okay. They could have gotten away with the lack of explanation for Anwen's powers if they at the very least established a really good owner-pet relationship between Taran and Henwen. That way, when the pig gets caught or captured or whatever, we actually care. The problem is they didn't. Not really.
Why not just have the boy killed? Whatever.
Yeah, and the cut scenes, the rush, the trouble development really shows all over the product because there's very, like Glib said, there's much of a plot holding these scenes together.
You know what's sad? If the 12 minutes that were cut probably didn't even help the narrative, like, hey, maybe it's as T.O. theorized and it was just them cutting away the songs.
I don't know, like, most of the time back in these days, Disney was not really putting songs in their movies for the most part. So,
okay, what was the movie? What was the movie before this one? Let me see.
The Great Mouse Detective. No. That was after. And that one definitely did have songs in it.
I think it was
Fox and the Hound.
Well, that one had songs. No, it did have songs. The Fox and the Hound.
Okay, fine. It had songs, but it didn't have musical numbers.
It did have musical numbers. The characters were literally singing some of them.
I'll have to go back and watch.
Anyway, here's our actual princess.
Let me see what.
Oh, look, the love interest.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The Disney princess probably did a better job of busting out than our actual protagonist.
Voiced by Susan Sheridan.
Again, Disney were thinking that she was going to be...
This was actually her first movie role of 3.
Oh.
Okay, so let's recap.
It's recap time. Hey,
Hold on.
Taron, whatever the fuck have you met today?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain,
Well,
really.
okay. Well, at least he's honest.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, let's recap. Okay, so we have a pig that can serve as a crystal ball. We have a kid who gets saved by we have the hero actually gets saved by the princess. Who in fact, this kind of feels very reversed, where Taran acts more like a princess and the princess. What's her name? The
Princess, what's her name?
It's Princess
Yeah,
Ellen.
Alien Y.
Alien Y.
Alien. You know why that name is so confusing? I'm just gonna call her Princess What's Her Name. Is any Princess What's Her Name here?
Welsh, I guess.
You know, you gotta love how the plot literally just happens off of a whim here and there. How does our protagonist get out of the dungeon? Well, the princess apparently escaped herself. Never mind even telling how she escaped. And, yeah, she busted him out.
Pedro?
Is it like a thing over there where you have pigs who can serve as crystal balls?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh.
Pretty common.
I mean, I'm surprised. I would be genuinely surprised if Wales doesn't have like a sheep god.
So basically,
Maybe
what you're telling me is that I need to know my Welsh lore to properly appreciate this movie.
Well, again,
Theo, that's what my movie pick is for.
Also, that's Welsh mythology seems to be a very extensive thing deriving from the traditional Gaelic, so there is that.
Oh,
but yeah, also
question,
here's the thing. Well, Princess Alien Y, as many people noticed also when reviewing the movie, has basically almost their entire characterization happening off screen. She's the princess of a kingdom that's technically off screen. Her parents are off screen. How she got here happened off screen.
She escaped off screen.
So are you telling me that she was poorly thought out?
I get this character stands for everything you hate.
If I recall correctly, here again, all the characterization stuff was what happened in the first book, but which was actually what was abridged.
Hey guys, speaking of MacGuffins that just come out of nowhere, wait till you see what our protagonist found.
Wait, actually, Jova, I realize I know the perfect way they can do a Kingdom Hearts world for this.
Go on.
Just rewrite the entire thing and let Nomura go wild with it.
Sure.
Also, that body.
I have a question. What the hell was the princess doing inside this castle and going into that dungeon to begin with?
Fair,
she got kidnapped.
Yeah. To be fair, she did explain that the Horn King kidnapped her because he thought that her bauble would help him with his plans, but when that didn't work, he just kept her.
So basically what you're telling me, Joe, is that the Horn King's castle security is shit, and as a result she was able to
as we have seen, the entire castle is very decrepit. Everything gets torn out or broken very easily.
And again, it's the princess that busts out our main protagonist. And you know what?
Which would necessarily be which would be a cool thing to do back in
now
these
actually
days.
To my favorite character.
Oh, it's not the Horn King?
Well, that is true, but in terms of for the good guys, I think he's voiced by Nigel Othorn.
I thought you were gonna say Thornberry. I'm like, what?
No. He is a bard, and when I mean that kind of bard in a D&D campaign who basically takes that position to have sex with the tavern owner of every single village where your party goes. That kind of bard.
He was in Demolition Man.
And the Plague Dogs.
Great.
And he was Professor Porter in the Tarzan movie, so at least he was in a Disney film later on that people actually care about.
Yeah, bards are not really appreciated in this castle.
Alone we.
There you go.
Again, I'm just gonna call her. What's her name?
The princess.
Also, I would mention something funny, like saying, "Oh, she's technically a princess, but she doesn't get acknowledged by Disney princesses." But that happened as well with someone like Kida. Sorry, so
I mean, that
Disney
would have
just
been a funny
Disney
joke
just
in Ralph
operates
Breaks
on whatever the fuck they want.
I mean, like I've said, with this princess, Disney actually had intended to start the Disney Princess franchise with her, but that's pretty much just summed up how that went. A big oops.
Here's the thing.
It would actually be revitalized and started with Ariel.
Of course.
The big problem, okay, let me put it this way. Yes, like on paper, it would have been a really cool thing for this movie to be, ahead of its time by having the princess be more proactive to the point where she even saves the hero at some point, like we saw in that dungeon scene. The problem is that the movie doesn't really capitalize on that potential. Like, if anything, the princess saving Taron earlier just comes across as just a thing that happens without any actual intention on part of the filmmakers.
So yeah, Taron found a magic sword.
He literally found it in the castle's basement with the corpse of a king. So
it does admittedly look cool.
That being said, hey, Horn King, you apparently are so bad at finding stuff that you couldn't find a magical MacGuffin in your own freaking basement.
I mean, the house is pretty big.
And then Taro cut away his own feet in the excitement.
Fun fact, in some countries this movie's called Taron and the Magic Sword.
Why the sword? In my country, again, it's called Taron and Magic Pot, which makes more sense considering, it's still the Black Cauldron,
Yeah, it's also called like that in my country, but some apparently have the magic sword.
It's weird though, because the book title, the corresponding book title I checked in my country, is it called actually the Black Cauldron. So I wonder what they went to localizing the name for my country.
Honestly, changing it to the Magical Sword title makes less sense given how much of a stake in the movie the whole sword plays. Well, okay.
I haven't seen this much waste of a good wine ever since Aquaman.
That too. It's marketing logic, Jova. Like, they think, oh, swords. People like swords, so let's put sword in the title.
So yeah, the minute Taron gets that sword, suddenly he's Mr. Unstoppable.
So
with a bombastic soundtrack.
So the princess in this film is voiced by Susan Sheridan, although apparently there was another actress cast in the role, although they just replaced her for some reason.
Okay. Like I said, she voiced the stuff like apparently Pedro. She was Princess Sylvia in Mazi.
Oh really?
Yeah, apparently. Also, okay, apparently there was like a theater version of Owl the Moving Castle. She was in that. But movie-wise, she only did this. Another one in 1985 called Peter No Tail in America. I don't know what that is. And the 2000 movie called Eisenstein.
Okay, might as well bring it up now. The pacing of this bloody movie. The movie goes forward way too fast, and as a result, we have little to no time to get to know any of these people. We know little to nothing about our
we're characters. Almost halfway through, by the way.
Yeah. What's surprising so far?
Yes, Dwebs?
We're halfway through the film, and unlike a lot of our other previous commentaries on the guy's films, we've barely mentioned Richard Rich.
That's because
he's not really the head honcho of this movie.
Yeah, I genuinely wonder that's because it's somebody that, remember, aside from being just a co-director between another guy, he's also one of 11 writers. Again, I need to stress 11.
And the interesting thing, 2 of them were Ron Clements and John Musker. So the guys who helped kickstart the Disney Renaissance co-wrote a film that almost killed the company.
Here's the basic gist of it, Dwebs. The 2 big highlights of Richard Rich's career: assisting director for Don Bluth in the small one, and helming Fox and the Hound. Aside from that, he's mediocre at best. At best.
Well, wasn't this one the first One Prince a commercial success?
It was, but let's just say that movie hasn't aged well at all.
I mean, look. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I find it to be fine. Hell, I actually don't mind the original trilogy of Swan Princess. They aren't per se great or even really good, but they're fine. Ooh, dark imagery and all that. But yeah, again, that's a thing about this movie. It really tries to just wow the audience with this or that. And look, at most as a kid, maybe it frightened me, but that's pretty much how I remembered for it as a kid. When I got older, I'm
There's
just
more-
like, this movie's kind of boring. And that's
look at Alien, like the original Alien film. Like that movie understands that yes, scary visuals are a thing, but it takes more than just scary visuals there's pacing, there's atmosphere that you need.
There's writing.
That too.
And also,
I get the feeling Dej isn't a fan of this movie, guys.
Oh, gee.
Give it away, Jova.
Also, yes, in case you haven't noticed, because you mentioned the harp of our bard actually has a wheel on its own. It's kind of like the whip of Simon Belmont in the Captain N cartoon.
So I'm curious, Tio, was this a thing in the was this a thing
to rip you?
Tio, question, was this a thing in the book? Because this is not explained at all.
Again,
in the movie.
from what I've been told, yes, some of the key elements are actually from the book. The problem is how, again...
Oh God! Okay.
Now
the composition's being fucked up even in the bits where they're against hand-drawn backgrounds.
Ugh. Oh my God!
I also love that line. Like, what does a girl know about swords? That line wouldn't fly today.
What did he know until he found this one anyway?
Yeah.
Pedro.
Oh my God! He knows my secret. I'm not really a princess.
So similar to the 90s, there was this characterization for female characters when they were trying to be more badass, but at the minimal size they showcased that they're so fragile on the inside, and eventually they will lower their defenses.
It's a flat circle. Nothing's changed.
This is something that I particularly hate. That's why I'm so hard on Renoa. You know, because this kind of shit.
Renoa, I gotta be honest. I forgot if you mentioned in the commentary, but Renoa never struck to me as the strong female lead at first.
They kind of try to set her up as one with the whole timber resistance when we first met her. The problem is that they
personality did not match from the get-go to me.
I never really got that inkling from Renoa, honestly.
I get what you mean in terms of occupying a position of leadership, but aside from that personality, she wasn't exactly that kind of imposing over Squall.
Pedro, a question.
Yes, Twips.
I'm pretty sure I saw The Great Mouse Detective, the film that came after this review.
You saw with me and Shiroi, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a much better film.
A much better. Well, it's by Ron Clements and John Musker, Twips, so.
It had
well, technically, this film had their involvement too.
Well, but they weren't the directors, were they?
No, but they were involved. I mean, let's just say every filmmaker has their
Well, but that's the thing, Dwebs. If John and Ron weren't in creative control, Richard was. So, go on, Dwebs.
To be fair, I'm not quite sure we can blame this strictly on the directors in this case. Don't get me... Okay, I think if there's one thing about this movie that I don't mind, it is the direction. At least with the actors here. That being said, I feel like the major culprit are, once again, the writers. Oh, don't get me wrong, there are problems with the visuals and problems in other avenues here, but the biggest problem is the writing, because holy cow, this movie wants you to like Gurgi, and boy, does it work terribly at it.
Yeah.
Wow, also, Princess What's-Her-Name is very easily amused, it seems.
Don't you get it, Pedro? She's a girl. She likes animals by default. Ugh.
Of course.
Also, what I was mentioning before, again, it seems that the basic thing that I've been told is that the key points, MacGuffins, objects, characters' names, and what their occupation are, are actually faithful to the book. But the way these things are combined into a single narrative and everything, that's what the movie does as original instead of adapting the book.
I like how the movie now kind of has a character-driven scene for the sake of maybe establishing, but instead of actually establishing anything in backstories or even any kind of insight, no, they just have the characters bicker for incredibly petty reasons.
So
that's great character writing.
So, Gio, we finally have our party of 4. How would you class them?
They're fucked.
No. RPG-wise, how would you class them?
Well, okay, obviously, Taron is supposed to be the warrior, not necessarily paladin because he doesn't have a shield. Gonna say maybe barbarian, you know.
Oh
He's supposed to
no!
be our warrior, and this party's fucked too.
Seriously,
See?
a pond? You
No, a bottle of water, my one weakness.
Then again, there was one episode of Gargoyles where they fall into quicksands like idiots, so maybe
Yeah,
they want to
okay,
storm
that is
it.
true.
that's another problem with this movie. If you thought the villain was pathetic, wait till you see the heroes.
Jesus.
Everybody in this movie is has a lot of problems in execution.
Hey, fairies! People like that in movies, right? Let's throw that in too. I can just feel the mindset for this movie. Like they just threw everything they thought people would like from the old days
Yeah.
and just threw it into,
Okay.
well, a cauldron to mix and mash.
Thankfully, this film wasn't entirely the last film to have use of Disney's Nine Old Men. The next film was The Great Mouse Detective after that Eric Larson retired.
That is
Indeed.
a much better movie for them to end off on.
Yes, and
That
again,
was
the
in 1986.
the pacing is not improving. We're just jumping from scene to scene to scene to scene to scene, and we never actually slow down to actually flash out anything.
Also, fun fact: this particular fairy, if I recall correctly, in the Italian dub, is actually voiced by the voice actor, the official voice actor who has been for Scrooge McDuck for most of the characters in our life. Not necessarily for the recent Duck show because sadly the voice actor passed away, but he didn't. He was mostly a theater actor. He didn't do much movies, so the few roles that he actually had, those were on the stick out. And it was this Scrooge McDuck for DuckTales and rated products, and the Watson equivalent in The Great Mouse Detective.
Okay, I'm starting to really see what Jeva was saying earlier. Like literally every time a little thing shows up, that pisses him immediately goes, "Ah, how cute or adorable or darling or whatever." Like seriously, seriously. So they literally, how stereotypical is your writing, guys?
Again, of the time,
Oh, and
the
guys,
end of the mid 80s and 90s.
Also, it may just be me, but these fairies feel like they're trying to capture the Smurfs audience, right down to the leader being the guy in red with the beard.
Like literally, she still has that same facial expression
No,
right there.
no, Joba. This is Fairy Santa Claus. Huh, got him.
I wonder what scenes.
So why are we watching Ferngirly all of a sudden?
Now you got
Honestly, I'll take Ferngully over this.
after reading that bit of information.
I'm not sure about that, at least for
Yes,
myself,
I will
Jova.
take Ferngully
No,
over this.
for you, Jova, okay, I'm not sure for myself. Go ahead,
Go
Williams.
on, Dubs.
After reading that bit of information at the start, I can't get out of my mind a picture of Jeffrey Katzenberg laughing with a pair of scissors as he cuts his skull.
Okay, look, like I said, Jeffrey Katzenberg is an asshole, but I will say this. This was probably a victory for him because, hey, he warned them. He really tried to warn them that this wouldn't work. And you know what? In
that's the
hindsight,
thing,
this looks very embarrassing.
Again, that's the thing. We know that 12 minutes were still cut regardless of what Jeffrey did. So I wonder if he wanted to put the accent too much.
You're still alive somehow.
She walked
I
here.
completely forgot about this picture.
She's one, at least. But the problem is we noticed that the height of the tower was a bit too much.
How did Anwen get here?
Well, remember, she swam, and then Gurgi saw her footprints, which led to the pool, which sucked them in, and yeah. She got here.
Oh. Okay.
Thank God this pool just happens to have a funnel in it. Otherwise, Henry may have drowned in it. What's a Morva? Yeah, Dolly's another character that they want you to care about. Don't even bother with that one.
Even the princess is giving up on him.
Also, I forgot to mention our main character is voiced by certain. Our main character is voiced by a certain Grant Bardsley. I'm not sure what else he did in his life because Wikipedia doesn't have an article. Let me see if I maybe is more fortuitous about it.
I love me some non-gradual relationship development in writing. They were literally bickering the last time they were talking, and now all of a sudden they're buddy. Brilliant. That's how good writing works. Good job, guys.
What suggested they became buddy?
Well, the fact that they're getting along. You can just have a scene where they're bickering, and right after that, a scene where they get along. That's not
okay. Clarify. Which
but they didn't really have a big falling out. It was just a bicker.
I guess that's just a relationship, constantly bickering but still care about each other.
Okay, which characters are you talking about, Pedro?
The our two leads here.
Wait.
Fairies.
We're leaving the pig behind.
It seemed like you were talking about the fairies, actually.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about the two leads.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay,
Also,
makes more sense.
You set up the pig to be really important, and now you're just leaving him behind.
Also, next scene. Also, apparently this was Grant Bardsley, second to last role in his career. He only was after that in one episode of G-Man's on Hour, and that was it. In 1989.
I'm noticing a trend with this movie having negative impacts on people's
I don't know if he actually retired or sadly passed away. I don't know that, but yeah, that's the extent of his career.
Oh, and suddenly Goldie is now in a green outfit, even though he was in yellow before?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Not just that. Okay, not just that. The thing is that the fairies are glowing by nature. So, yeah, I wonder if the intended idea was that it was always green and the glowing made it look like gold.
Why isn't he glowing anymore either?
Because we're not anymore in the land of the fairies, I guess.
Would have been nice if the movie established something to do with that, but look, if we make a list of all the things that this movie is poor at explaining, we'll be here all night.
Guys, because of how rushed this movie is, what happened to what happened to that tiny little ball of light that was there in the beginning when we were first introduced to the princess?
Magic.
Tio?
There was a ball of light?
Yeah, the one with the princess. Oh my god, Tio forgot.
It was like a blue ball of light.
I was actually trying to answer some of you. I didn't pay attention to the movie.
Honestly, Tio, the fact that the movie doesn't even bring it back is kind of bad on its own.
I don't know if it does. It's been actually a while since I saw the movie.
I think the last time we even saw that orb of light was when we found the bard in the dungeon.
Frogs!
And
you were known true facts about the world.
And that's the thing, too. I was watching the movie, never explained what that golden ball was or where it went. Like, at first you think maybe it's going to be, like, you know, the equivalent to Link's fairy friend from Ocarina of Time, but no, it's gone. Oh, there it is!
You just need to find the right one.
So, well, what does that golden ball
it's supposed to be black, so those look brown, so they're not.
Hide the other cult to hide the real one, maybe?
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, it's Hocus Pocus.
What year was that movie? I'm pretty sure it was done after this.
Please stay away from me.
Classic witches, Pedro. We want to eat people.
In more ways than one.
1993.
Yeah.
Look, Pedro. Look, Joba. Sometimes we're also lonely, okay?
I don't know. I think the plumbing's running a bit dry.
Harpy's jealous.
Why do I feel like this scene is a metaphor for how the movie just wanted to be loved, but people are like, yeah, no, move on.
Okay, calm down, movie. This is starting to get a bit uncomfortable.
Editing the movie.
Okay, I see they decided to go Looney Tunes for this scene.
All right.
So can we finally have soup now?
You eat frogs, Shira?
No.
Wonder what. Okay. It seems that the French.
Yeah. That's Katzenberg trying to edit the movie, and this one's
also
Michael Eisner telling him to stop.
The French love frogs, so I wonder. I actually drew you curious on how they actually taste like.
I just remember at the end of the last movie.
I wonder where he went. There we go.
Go ahead, Shiro.
I just remember at the end of the last movie we were promised either porridge or soup. So which is it?
I swear.
Also, imagine the scene. Sora stuck there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
bad. No.
You all did this to me.
No,
You've
no,
all
no.
broken me.
Blame the movie,
Hey, I didn't
not
say anything.
us.
I'm against this.
Actual representation of a Disney executive trying to highlight the live action remake.
Dwebs did say that he's not against the idea of a live action.
We'll mention more about this in the final thoughts.
Oh, a kettle in a pot. Oh, okay.
It's more of a test. Now
But then
Taron
I
has to recognize what exactly he's
Actually,
looking
that's
for.
the thing, you know. That's the thing, though. The pots had more screen time than the actual Black Cauldron.
Oh, it's okay. The sword will literally do his job for him.
Also,
That's the thing. What a great hero.
something Star Wars.
The sword!
where-
The sword does the work for the hero,
that's
Captain.
So that's where Operation Overdrive got that plot point from. Where in the crossover, where in the team-up episode, one of the Rangers that just gets the sword of Excalibur and just uses that to cut the monster in half.
Also, these witches are okay. Again, I don't know if this actually was in the book, but these witches are kind of idiots because they want to trade an artifact that can literally resurrect the dead and potentially be dangerous in the wrong hands, giving it to this idiot just because they want that sword.
And their insistence is that oh, he can't do anything with it. The movie literally opened up with the fact that this cauldron has big potential for the big bad and whatnot. So, yeah, these witches are goddamn idiots.
Anyway, let me also mention
I highly suggest just not trying to follow
the three witches. I think are voiced by Ada Reyes Marin, Adele Malismori, and Billy Hayes.
Don't recognize those in particular.
Let me see. Billy Hayes is the only one who's credited at least on
And
Wikipedia.
yeah.
She was in.
And yeah, no, Taran, it's literally your only chance of being a protagonist with that sword. So yeah, honestly, any movie that calls this Taran and the magical sword, yeah, that sword's in this movie for all of, like, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, that line. Notice what the witch just said. Oh, with this sword, you could be the greatest of warriors. That line in the UK VHS trailer for 1998 is used horribly out of context to make the witch seem like she's the one that gives the sword to him. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's another thing. Like I think that Joel was mentioning before. I think it works better here to mention the movie. At least the story-wise, does contain the ideal key plot point for at least its major character. In the case of Tyron, again, he's supposed to be the guy who has great ambitions of becoming a knight, but has to realize the world is different and he literally has to work his ass out in order to actually become the position that he wants to have, you know. And this should be part of it, but the fact that he should need a sword to be a hero in that kind of sense. The problem is that due to how the movie goes with the pedal to the metal, basically, you know, we skim over most of these and make our characters look like idiots for the most part.
Now, okay, I get it. They're probably trying to make it seem like, oh, Taran gives up his dream of being a warrior by giving up the sword, and that's to show his character development. I argue that is freaking lazy here and there, and really, that's the thing. Look, for all the problems Spider-Man Homecoming may have been, it did have a good point that Peter could still be a hero without the suit. Here, no, there's literally nothing to suggest that Taran could work without the sword. May I remind you, the sword literally dragged him to do part of his work for him.
Also, for some reason, the shot where the Black Cauldron actually appeared was rotoscoped.
Wait, I love this. They say the Black Cauldron can't be destroyed. Now, allow us to talk about how you can stop it. I love it. I love it.
Sacrifice.
They literally say it's indestructible, only to then tell us how exactly to destroy it.
Please go in, please die, bye.
Oh no, David, it's to stop the magic, not the cauldron itself.
Again, it's a living sacrifice, but has to be done consensually.
That's the thing, though, Dwibs. Right after that, Taran says, so it can be done, which suggests that, yes, that would be able to essentially destroy it. Like, can the movie please make up its mind?
No, I actually did mention what it won't destroy it, but it will stop the enchantment.
Also, this movie clearly wants to cause me to have a seizure.
Yeah, I
Jesus
know,
Christ.
right?
Ah,
So, there you go. We got the Black Cauldron.
Stop it with the fucking bright
now what?
flashes.
Well, there's another thing from the old days, Pedro. Remember how the Sorcerer's Apprentice number has that sequence where Mickey literally flashes you repeatedly on screen
Oh, wait.
while reviving the broom?
Here we go.
Yeah, this is Jeffrey Katzenberg getting annoyed.
And there, Dolly's just gone. Like I said, don't even bother getting attached to him. He pretty much leaves the movie.
He literally just rage quit the movie.
For the
That's how bad
record,
this movie.
Even the
Dolly was also
characters are
voiced by
leaving.
John Biner, so at least he had a better role than Gorgie.
There you go, Deji. That's how bad this movie is. Even the characters rage quit the movie at one point. Oh.
Also, bedroom
You
eyes, Master? Jesus
believe-
Christ.
No movie.
What?
No, you can't.
This is extremely sudden.
Yeah, that's thing I was about to mention. The characterization is just rushed beyond belief. Which is also comes to a detriment for the entire setting. Again, this is supposed.
I
Again,
have to mention this. You've been true friends.
Oh.
Yeah, true friends because you had so much time to get to know these people. Go
Oh,
on, Jay.
no,
Sorry.
it turns out we made it easier for the bad guys to get the Black Cauldron. We're kind of dumbasses that way.
Fucking brilliant.
Wait,
Yeah,
you know what?
okay.
You know what? Actually,
remember, apparently part of the stuff that Katzenberg wanted to cut out was character interaction scenes.
I don't know if those scenes would have actually helped given how this movie is and whatnot. Like, again, until we know the context, for all we know, Katzenberg may have done us a favor.
Maybe he should have been the CEO of Disney.
He would have been better than Michael Eisner, that's for sure.
That's the thing, though. I think he actually had like the one position that was just below Eisner.
Pretty much. Hey, and wouldn't you know, after he left, Disney started to go downhill again. I mean, don't get me wrong, he kind of had his whole being let go coming to him. But Michael Eisner was doing his own good job to ruin things at Disney as well.
Oh yeah. And then let's not forget Krassenberg.
Don't worry, guys.
Nearly caused DreamWorks to go downhill.
Don't worry, guys. We now have Clark Spencer as the president of Walt Disney Animation, so it's fine.
Wait. Oh, yeah, him. Yeah, for a moment I thought you were talking about CEO because,
No, Clark Spencer. He started off as a producer of Meet the Robinsons. He also produced Winnie the Pooh, Big Hero 6, Zootopia. He did a lot of the best hits. He was the producer of a lot of the best hits of recent years, so yeah.
hopefully he'll do good in regards to, well, the CEO, because
Also-
from what I've heard, Bob Chapek is... Well, yeah,
So
he
far
may...
he has, so...
Sorry, what?
Well, so far he has been doing good, so...
Not Bob Chapek, from what I've heard. I've
No,
heard...
I mean Clark Spencer. I mean, despite Bob Chapek, or however his name is called, pronounced Bob Chapek. What kind of name is that even? Whatever. I'm evil, please. I'm so pointlessly evil. Like,
Again, you know,
Voiced
what...
by John Hurt. Come on, man.
You know,
yeah, that's another sin. You wasted John Hurt on a nothing villain.
You know, one honestly has to wonder, if the heroes had never gone off to the Black Cauldron, wouldn't the bad guys not have been able to get it because, you know, the witches have all their magic and whatnot?
remember, they wanted only to do a bargain of that equal manner, so it's easy to realize that the Orange King would have found some way, or to make a good trade. That too, potentially.
What's Geppetto doing now? then?
Would he have been able to, though? I honestly wonder. And yes, I know...
So just because you're not seeing doesn't mean that he's not capable of doing that.
Well, too, maybe if the movie showed him being capable, that would help. But anyway, yeah. He's so evil that he has the dead kill his own men to add to their numbers.
That's what the Black Cauldron actually does.
There you go, we resurrected the
am I
army
looking
of
at a
the Orange
3D
King.
movie or something? What's with all these after images?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
forgot to put on my 3D glasses.
They're trying to do the whole,
Ghostly operation.
Yeah, something similar to what Nightmare on Bald Mountain did.
Slowly
that doesn't-
destroy all in your path.
Well, it's gonna take a while because the Horned King climbs those stairs really slowly. So.
Oh, it's okay.
It's for dramatic effect.
That's okay. His troops move just as slowly, if not slower. You know, there's only so much terror I can get from an inferred threat.
Also, I'd like to mention that the bard just said that he wishes he were still a frog inside that woman's boobs.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's probably
like that's a bad fit.
honestly,
That's a better situation than this. Like,
pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god, this thing is
The goblin. I actually haven't checked yet who he's voiced by. Let me see.
Yeah, this what's his name? This
I think it's Creeper, which is voiced by Phil Fondacaro.
Anyway, both the comic relief character, both this one and the villain's troll thing is also annoying. It's here, Jesus.
I don't know. You tell me.
I kind of realize who Gorgie reminds me of.
Good.
That one elf troll from Harry Potter 2.
Dobby?
Dobby, yeah.
Dobby?
No!
It's just the way he speaks. Like the
No?
voice.
If
God,
anything,
no.
Okay, sorry, that resembles more Gollum, if anything.
Yeah, not Dobby.
Not one to one, but I was like, I just get the same vibes.
So yeah, somebody needs to sacrifice themselves to stop the pot. Why does it have to...
Is the plot twist is that they both jump in together, but because they
No.
both made selfless sacrifices, they both live?
No.
Yeah, this is time for hold on.
Okay, guys, it's time to be very sad that Gurgi, of all people, has to die, and we'll never hear his sweet voice ever again.
Everything falls flat because you didn't bother establishing any of this.
Okay, and that's the thing. Gurgi was annoying. He was an asshole. But I guess now he's better, so feel sad.
can you please stop like flashing the whole screen now? Like,
Oh man, this is supposed to be such a tragic moment.
And...
yeah, it is.
And
Remember
believe me-
that they also foreshadowed it beforehand.
And
when the witches did mention had the Gorgi saying, "Oh, I'll jump in."
And yeah, Gurgi just defeated the bad guy's plans.
Remember, that's what the witches said. If the sacrifice is done consensually, the entire enchantment is broken.
In hindsight, I probably should have had someone guard that cauldron.
Yeah.
Probably.
Our villain, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the thing, Horde King. Apparently that's... Wait, I don't think that stops the magic completely, now that I think about it, or does it?
Why don't you let her help? She's more capable than you anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But Pedro, this is the 40s. We
No,
can't
it's
do
not.
that.
It's the 80s.
It's the 40s.
80s.
Times two.
The 40s. It will
Times
always
two.
be the 40s here.
So literally,
Plus 5.
Fate.
Jesus.
They keep calling him Pig Boy, it's like you're trying to talk about a boy who actually has pig characteristics.
Well, that was because
No,
the
it's
first
pig's
been gone for
the first
the last
introduction that the
minute of
king
the
had to Taron was as the guardian of a pig. So
My God,
Yeah.
you're a useless
And,
villain.
Okay,
and there
so-
you go.
to
This is
be
the lamest
This is how he
villain.
died.
not to be really fair, but in general, necromancers are depicted as extremely fragile, even if you bump into them. So I can't believe that. I actually don't know how he actually gets defeated in the book. I'll probably in a better way than this, but I can't believe that he cannot be super skilled in. Oh,
Oh no, I'm dying!
You killed me.
Good.
Good. No, that's what the princess reminds me of. CGI Zelda. She has the same design.
Jesus.
Again with the flashing, it's annoying.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was like,
Poof.
Oh no.
Well, that happened.
Wait for it.
So, anyone wants a taco?
Is he imitating the reaction to the audience watching the movie?
Wait.
I wonder, was this an inspiration from that bit at the end of Hercules where Hades gets sucked in? With pain and panic reacting like that?
I will say that if there was, then Hercules definitely did it better.
Well,
Yes.
obviously, but I wonder.
Oh my god, and that's how the dragons die. They just fall down.
It's kind of like at the end of Lord of the Rings, Jova, when because of Sauron gets defeated, it causes a chain reaction. With like the meteorites from Mount Doom that destroyed the Nazgul, and the earthquake that swallows the orcs.
So, Tio, I hate to say it to you, I know he's your favorite character, but the Bard is absolutely useless in this movie. Like,
Oh no, it is. At least it's more funny than the other two idiots.
True, yeah, but plot-wise, he doesn't contribute a thing to this
Yeah.
movie. It's frustrating.
I'm
No,
guessing he's
true,
supposed to be the other comic relief type
Yeah,
character.
he is. And like Gurgi, I actually laugh at the stuff that happens with him.
You know what? Yes, he's still better than Gurgi. Even though he does less than Gurgi, I'll take him over Gurgi.
No, but here's the thing: Gorky sacrificed himself. Wait,
Also,
why is it still? Why is it
I
still
would want to
locked?
mention the chains reappeared in that shot.
Yeah, I'm like,
Whoops.
what?
Richard.
Oh my
Now
god,
I saw
Pedro!
what.
It's a Richard Rich production with an animation error like that.
Richard. Pro tip for you. Next time, since you're right now making Swan Princess 11. Here's a pro tip for you.
Check
Richard,
better the
Richard.
fucking animation.
When you're in post-production, actually check the movie frame by frame, like directors usually do.
And the rats do not approve of the castle blowing up, apparently.
I mean, they
Seriously.
don't have any more bones to now.
Seriously, Richard, can't you make one movie without a single animation hiccup?
Fox and the Hound?
Hiccups are very, very.
I guess,
common.
sure, yeah.
Bye.
Well, at
But
least
I don't
he
think it's like
profited.
something as jarring as that. That's like.
See, that's also another thing. I argue that's another thing how this can easily fit in a Kingdom Hearts world. The plot is so short and not much happens when you get down to it, so it kind of fits that kind of
Okay.
era Kingdom Hearts.
I think that's why they're not picking it though.
Yeah,
No. Again, just let Namor do whatever the hell
I'm
he
gonna-
wants.
Again,
Okay.
remember, time and time again, words like, sadly also Tangled more recently, but stuff like, I don't know, Mulan, Hunchback of Notre Dame, or one in Beer by Sleep, I keep forgetting which specific one, had a problem that the plot was super abridged, the locales were not much, and were mostly empty. It kind of would fit for this one.
honestly, here's just the thing. There's no demand for it. It's not popular, even.
There wasn't a man for Tron either, Jova.
Well, Tron had merit, especially because Disney at least had plots with it as well. With Black Cauldron, if they do that, it'll probably more than likely be based off of the eventual live-action version as opposed to this old version.
Again, more on that on the final thoughts, but yes, let's have one last another trade.
Uh-huh.
Also, the animation on the bard just now looked unfinished.
Also, another difference between this and Tron wasn't god-awful.
Like you can tell, like compared to how this woman looks, compared to how the bard looks right now, the it's like they didn't write all the lines on him during that scene.
Katzenberg cut the lines too.
So, yeah, you can have the sword back.
Also, a bard with standards, bloody hell.
Wait,
No.
wait. What about their friend?
You know,
Well,
when you get
what
right down to
friend?
it, yeah. You know, when you get right down to it, our hero, I guess, didn't really do jack shit.
Oh my
Like,
god. Really? You
Again,
could
when we're
do.
doing final thoughts, can I go first?
Hold on, Dej.
Take the sword.
No.
Again,
Just
again,
take the sword. The sword was so
I
much more
really-
useful than
I
Gurgi.
really understand what we're going for. I really do. The noble choice of self-sacrifice and everything, and care more about the lives of others. But Gurgi doesn't deserve this at all. I'm sorry.
He really
I know
doesn't.
that it sounds too cynical, but I'm sorry. He doesn't deserve it.
Again,
Not just-
look. His one sacrifice at the end was more so out of guilt for his past actions than any real good nature he had.
Yeah, not just that, but yeah, like I was saying, our so-called hero here didn't really do jack shit. Let's think about this for a moment. He didn't really defeat the villain as much as the villain kind of tripped and died by the Cauldron. He didn't sacrifice himself because Gurgi did it. Taran did nothing in this movie, and he's supposed to be the winning hero.
This movie nearly killed Disney. After watching this,
Again,
who could have
Dej.
imagined?
Losing box office to the
The
Care
Care
Bears
Bears
movie.
movie.
It's because this movie didn't really.
Are you laughing to hide the pain, Deji?
Okay,
No, that's still hilarious.
okay. Wait.
Where did the tears went?
Wait,
Where
wait,
did
wait.
the tears went?
Wait.
Tears go.
Sorry. Movie, do you really expect us to not believe Gurgi's gonna be alive, considering the fact that we literally just made a bargain to get Gurgi back?
Let's just see if we wanted to stretch out so we can have a better theatrical time.
Just no. They
Also,
literally.
they said they tried to get him back, not get him back alive. But
Well,
unfortunately,
80
he is alive.
Shoot him!
They don't have anything.
There's a river right there. Drown him.
The best option they have is probably strangling with the harp.
Again,
Or the bard.
I just want to imagine all the more useful things they could have done with that magical sword, which in some countries the movie is partially named after. But no,
I
let's
mean,
just-
it wasn't the original title Disney had.
Sure, why the
Also,
fuck not?
Gurgi is a shipper.
No.
Oh.
Everyone to the lifeboats.
Gurgi, I don't want to know what your internet history looks like. Sorry.
Oh, it's not even gonna matter. This movie's
It's
gonna be
just
dead
apples.
afterwards. Like,
Lots and lots of apples.
Okay, Dej, I'll give you that
And
one.
yes.
That made me laugh.
And yet the
Oh,
sad
there's
part
the
is
light.
that, and yet the sad part is that Gurg is more of a hero than Taran is, because he at the very least did one thing.
And over into the sunset for a sequel that will never happen.
wait, I thought you said you don't use her powers except for when you absolutely need it. Did you absolutely need it for this?
Don't you see, Jova? He was
Oh, and
using
look,
this to
now
show
he's
them
glowing and back in
movie to
yellow.
us.
So what the hell happened?
Oh, guys,
Richard.
would it interest you to know this was the first film?
And yeah, it
this
just
was the
cuts
first
to the
Disney
credits
film to
like
use
this one.
CGI?
There's not even like a fade to black. It just cuts like this, like it's fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The first one that used CGI and it nearly killed Disney.
like,
Dej,
hey, wait, one more thing. As for why they probably won't go for this in Kingdom Hearts, another thing Tron has over this, Tron was actually a unique world that added something new to it. Here, mystical fantasy land. We have so many worlds in Kingdom Hearts. Hell, the nature of Kingdom Hearts itself is kind of already like that.
And now Disney
No.
Plus is telling me to watch Hercules.
Okay,
'cause of
okay.
all this
Wait, Joe. You know what they can do? The Witcher will be like, okay, offer a sacrifice, offer something in exchange.
Offer
and
the
they're interested in
Keyblade.
Sora's Keyblade. And it's like, sure. They give some
Again, there is-
and then Sora gets his Keyblade back. Now,
there is potential for integration of some kind, actually. The more seeing again the movie, the more I see, the more I can visualize, key moments and stuff like that to happen. If any, and remember, there were at least a couple of examples where the actual words in Kingdom Hearts actually expanded a bit, or at least improved on the plot of the original source material. So,
Okay. So here's the $1,000,000 question: is it even possible that the remake might even be worse than this?
Well, no.
It-
Did they
it-
announce one?
Yes,
okay,
we
let's
have a
mention this with
live-action
the
remake
final thoughts. There we go. In 2016, Walt Disney Pictures actually reacquired the movie rights to the Chronicles of Prydain, with intention to adapt the book series into an epic motion picture series, and more tuned to Lloyd Alexander high fantasy world. The project is currently in early development at Walt Disney Studio, with no director, producer, or screenwriter attached yet. So yeah, it's been in the works, but not much has happened so far.
The word is that they are making a live-action remake of it. As to answer your
Not
question,
just a remake, instead mostly like that being part of a bigger series. Again, it seems that Disney once again wants to try to make their own Lord of the Rings.
Oh, hey, Phil Nibbling.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dej, your final thoughts? Why not?
What? It's so mediocre. Like I don't even want to say bad. It's just it's a nothing film. What were they trying to accomplish here?
Reclaim the old glory days.
That's the thing, Deji. They themselves don't even know, because as we've established back then, the studio was basically a bunch of lost bees who didn't know anything of what they wanted. They had zero direction as a studio, basically, at the time.
And they were at war with Jeffrey Katzenberg.
That too. That didn't help either.
Like, boy, they got luck. They are really lucky that the Great Mouse Detective came and saved them.
Yeah,
that's the problem, Deji. Like before Ron Clements and John Musker came in to make that movie, this studio was basically floundering, not knowing what the hell to do. So they were basically just throwing shit at the wall at every turn to see what could have possibly stuck. Because when Walt died, the studio, it's literally the equivalent of a ship losing its captain. They have no idea what to do. They're just bumbling around.
And they didn't have a second in command.
That's the thing. They didn't have a second in command. Walt basically did everything back in those days.
Yeah, that's also a good question. Did Walt did not train anyone as a successor before his death?
No, he did not.
Interesting. Go on, Dej.
Yeah, so it's very, very, very sad. Probably one of the most set of unlikable protagonists I've seen, because they don't really do anything. You don't believe their relationship. Like, why are these people getting along? It just feels like you're just crossing the street and you're all just conveniently had to go to the same direction. And it's like it got awkward and you're just forced to start a conversation.
Oh, but it's okay, because at the end, Gurgi has boy and girl kiss. I barely even remember their names.
A full romance.
I think I can also help you with that, Dej, because the Rush thing is not just also for the characters, but also for the setting, because this is supposed to be, again, an high fantasy epic, but location-wise, it's extremely barren. We have, like, I can count maybe the number of locations on one hand. That's a problem. It's like if Ralph Bakshi's version of Lord of the Rings. Imagine if Ralph Bakshi's version of Lord of the Rings was kind of like this. And that movie already is a miracle in itself, that it manages to, still maintain most of the different locales and characters. Imagine if it was something like this, where the pace was like super fast and the characters didn't visit much. Ugh. Continue. Sorry.
What would have saved? This movie would have gone up 2 points if Gorky had stayed dead.
Yeah.
Instead of giving it a 3, I would have given it a 5. It's like, you know what? You
I'm
got rid of
surprised
the most annoying character, and I never have to deal with him again. But nope, you brought him back.
I'm surprised you're not giving it a 0.
Yeah,
because it didn't frustrate me like The King and I or Freddy.
I guess it's not offensive on that front.
Yeah, it's just boring.
I'd give it a 2 in that regard, if only because it's such a nothing thing. Like, it really doesn't offer you much of value. And even the stuff that does initially wow you with its visuals, eventually even that just looks bad, lame, and ugly.
Like, okay, I want you guys to do this. Summarize the plot.
Oh, simple. Boy has his pig freak out. He takes pig, loses pig because of his idiocy. Pig gets captured because of his idiocy. He gets found out because of his idiocy. The villain himself is also an idiot who gets defeated by a bowl of water. Boy escapes. but then gets caught, but the pig escapes. Princess, yes, suddenly a princess shows up in story, busts boy out. Boy literally stumbles upon magical MacGuffin sword, which does so much of the work in this story. They escape, find pig, get fairy, move on, meet witches. Bard gets stuck in witch's boobs as a frog. That is integral to the story. They bargain.
I still like it.
They bargain, give up the sword for the cauldron. Cauldron gets taken by villain. Villain is still an idiot. Villain procures slow-moving dead army, which more or less immediately get defeated by annoying as all hell sidekick. Sidekick dies, audience cheers. Bad guy, despite being a necromancer, tries to go for the hero in close quarters combat.
That is true. That's
Is that a summary, Jello? Because it seems like you're basically reenacting Jeffrey Katzenberg's reaction to the script.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's like,
was that his reaction to the script?
It means like this is
possibly.
It's just a nothing movie. The fact that explaining it just feels mundane.
Like, and okay, it feels mundane if you're not even pointing out how stupid everyone is. Because, like I said, the villain, he does nothing, and when he finally does something, it's in close quarters combat when he's a necromancer. That's like
the hero doesn't do jack. It just feels like okay. So I'm cool with sometimes the hero. Like, if the hero isn't the one that saves the day, but helps everyone encourage them and plays his part, that's fine.
But that's
cool with that. But the problem is, he does nothing. This could have been anybody else.
But don't you see, Deds? Taran managed to kick the Horn King, and that made him trip a bit, which then let him get sucked into the pot.
I could kick the Horn King.
Congrats, you're just as much a hero as Taran is, if not more.
That's the thing, that since the princess only did that one thing where she busts him out of the jail and the bard does nothing, the most heroic character in this movie is actually Gurgi, because he makes an heroic sacrifice.
Well, I mean, to give the princess credit, she busts them out of the castle.
That's what I said, but even that technically is not traditionally important as an heroic sacrifice.
True. And
I hate Gurgi too, but the truth of the matter is that if you actually look at it objectively, Gurgi is the hero of this movie.
Why do I feel like
underdog?
Why do I feel like that makes it even worse somehow?
Can I get to my final thoughts if Deji's finished?
Yeah, I'm done. Bye.
So, at the time, the most expensive animated film ever made. A film that was not only beaten by the Care Bears movie, but it was also defeated by a re-release of E.T., the month-old Back to the Future, and at number one, the classic National Lampoon's European Vacation.
I haven't seen that one, and I don't know how that actually is.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder why this film lost. Yeah, it's just terrible, really. It's just, I mean, nothing happens, and what does happen is either annoying, or just, again, nothing. Yeah. Instead of nothing, we get nothing. I know that sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but believe me, there are a lot of kinds of nothing out there.
The reason it's a quote-unquote nothing movie is because, yes, technically things are happening, but they don't mean anything. Nothing, there's no meaning to any of this. Nothing is given weight.
Like, I mean, if they were trying to recreate the success of the Walt era of the movies, they didn't do a very good job of it, because last time I checked, I don't remember Bambi doing nothing throughout his own movie.
Don Bluth was actually the one doing that, Dwebs, back in these days.
Huh.
What, in the 40s?
No, as in, at the time that this movie came out, Don Bluth was the one recapturing the glory of Disney's golden age with Secret of Nim and American Tail and Land Before Time.
And All Dogs Go to Heaven.
The Care Bears movie was doing a better job at that.
It was. Care Bears movie, actually, I kind of enjoy some of the twists with that movie.
And okay, to be honest, okay, as much as I'm sure Elmer Bernstein tried to give this film some sort of life of his music, I don't even remember any of it.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. There was music in this.
So basically, it was we should have gotten the composer of Tales from Earthsea to try to help. No, the score for that movie is actually really good. Actually,
okay, I've heard not so good things about that movie.
I don't know. The movie itself is garbage. The movie itself is garbage, but trust me, Jova, that score deserves a better movie.
Yeah, it's basically the Japanese equivalent of Cars 2 in a way. I mean, the characters. I mean, what characters? I mean, we got the Geppetto Fursona.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you actually compare the two, they look alike. Yeah,
they really do.
We've got Peter Pan's useless cousin.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Princess blah blah blah. Says I can't even remember the princess's name without looking it up.
I swear, the bard reminds me of another character design from somewhere, but I can't put my finger on it.
The bard does more of the work than our title characters sometimes.
Okay,
and all he does is yell at people.
To be fair, no, the bard... Okay, I guess you could argue the bard got the witches to negotiate with them, which got Gurgi back.
That's more than the main characters ever did.
But again, guys, the main character kicked the Horn King.
Honestly,
he did it, guys. Isn't that amazing?
Joe, with the Horn King so stupid, he probably would have fallen back anyway.
We all could have done that.
I have to agree with you.
Honestly, I find the UK VHS promo more entertaining than the movie itself.
Which is actually
liar it is. Yeah, I'll show you after.
Which is actually interesting. I was checking for some trivia. I will tell more when it comes to my turn, but just to mention quickly, apparently the UK marketing worked enough because it was at least the country where the movie performed even better than compared to the rest of the world.
I mean, isn't it based on Welsh folklore?
It's definitely based, but moving on. Go ahead, Wiz.
Yeah, so yeah, well done me and Jews chivalry, I guess.
Hey, listen, I didn't even know this was based on Welsh stuff until Tio told me, so like I could give less of a shit.
But sure, there's a pig. You told me that pigs as crystal balls are common over there, so that should have been your tip.
Yeah, put it this way. I think Fireman Sam left more of an impact when it comes to
wait. If this is Wales, wouldn't it make more sense if it was a sheep instead of a pig?
That is true, Pedro, but farmers do not have only one animal type.
Yeah.
Too easy. So I think that's about what I could cover, really. I mean, it is a shame that a lot of long Disney careers had to suffer as a result of this movie's failure. But I suppose it did give Disney the lesson it needed to be able to survive the 80s. Because after this, we did have a few pretty good movies. We had The Great Mouse Detective, we had Oliver and Company as barely connected to Oliver Twist as I think it is, and The Little Mermaid.
Well, yeah, Disney Renaissance in general afterwards.
Yeah, so it started the 80s okay, and in the middle of it was...
This.
Again, nearly killed it. So, Dwibs, this was a Halloween pick of yours, though. Did you find it scary enough?
Well, I mean, the most scary thing is that we probably wouldn't have gotten those films I mentioned if this film really did put a death into the studio.
Part of me really does wonder what the alternate timeline where this movie killed Disney is like.
Well, Warner Brothers would probably...
And then it cuts to that scene where the lawyer is speaking on The Simpsons and everyone is dancing happily in the sunset.
Go on.
Yeah, Disney, Warner Brothers would probably have bought them.
Probably.
Hey, then we could have probably have had 3 Roger Rabbit films by now, then.
Maybe not. But anyway, yeah. That's the Black Cauldron, at least my opinions on it. It's boring. It's dull. And yeah, the wonder no one came to see this film. And the wonder nearly killed the studio. It's like the studio just ran out of ideas at this point.
That is the thing. This movie is technically a part of history in the sense that It is the movie that nearly put an end to Disney.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Shiroi.
Well, that was incredibly boring.
For a moment, I thought you were about to say incredibly creepy. Like, oh my god, you found this scary for Halloween.
No. This movie was boring and not scary for little me, and it's the same now. It's the one time we both agree with each other. There's...
Well, there you go. That's our biggest achievement for the day, everybody. We got child Shiro and adult Shiro to get along.
Great. Awesome.
Was that the climax of the Rocking Bullwinkle movie? Go ahead, Shiro.
Oh god.
I don't like any of the characters. None of them. I don't remember the music at all.
What about the villains?
I guess they're okay. I'm sorry. I just want this 1 hour and 20 minutes back. Like, that's...
Well, Shiro, you can just watch the Care Bears movie instead. Like everybody
Yeah,
else
I'll do that.
I'm actually curious, Shiro, because you're more into that. What about, I forgot which generation it is, but what about the 80s MLP movie instead?
Yeah. Actually.
If that's the one Josh looked at, then hell no. I'm not touching
It's the one with the purple sludge. I forgot what it's called.
I don't remember, but no. No, thank you. No, I'll watch the Care Bears movie. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
But I never even grew up with that series. But anyway, this just can kind of see why it almost killed Disney. So
yeah.
Serious lack of sheep in this Welsh thing. Disappointed.
See, there you go. See, I got it right too.
The dragons aren't red enough. Like, what the hell is this shit?
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's not raining. It's not. Did it rain a single time in this movie?
No.
Okay, there you go. That's another thing. Like, there you go.
There was a lot of fire, so this movie was too hot for it to be set in Wales. This is bullshit. The best thing this movie did was end. And, yep, that's it. I got nothing for this. The movie gave me nothing. It's getting nothing in return.
Brilliant.
Well, it's in theme with the witches deal. Jova.
Whew. It's no surprise that this is the movie that nearly put an end to the studio of Disney. Like, this movie is incredible with all the stuff they got wrong. Like, yeah, okay, look. Forget trying to recapture the glory days. How about telling a coherent plot? 'Cause even Disney's first ever animated movie, Snow White, has a better put together plot than this. Like, what is even happening here? What were they thinking? Were they thinking?
What are they thinking?
Is Jeffrey Katzenberg truly the unsung hero of the story? Like, this is how topsy-turvy the story is, folks, when Jeffrey Katzenberg is the unsung hero. Okay, look, I'll joke.
That's how bad things got at the studio at this point in time, Joe.
Again, like, I acknowledge Jeffrey Katzenberg has a mountain of issues himself, but God, we do have him partially to thank for Disney just realizing this isn't working, and thus the Disney Renaissance era. Still, I think my favorite era of Disney animation came about to be.
This is the film equivalent of Yoshi Wada, the man who nearly killed Square Enix, telling Konami, "You guys shouldn't really run your company like this."
I know, right?
No, run it like how I run Square.
I mean, the sad thing is that how he ran Square was apparently still better than how Konami was doing it. Regardless though, this movie is a mess. The plot has plot holes up the wazoo. It doesn't maintain its own lore well. The consistency of the animation is a joke. The villain is a joke. The characters, the heroes, I struggle to even call them heroes. Taran's useless until he gets that magical sword that he gives up 20 minutes later.
Like I said, Joe, but this movie only has one hero. Because Gurgi, for as bad as he is, he's the only one in this movie that actually does something heroic.
And that's the thing. Up until that point, he was terrible. In fact, even when he came back, I still find him terrible. I wonder why that is. Like, Folks, this movie commentary of ours has been a long time coming because everyone wants to have their poke at the movie that nearly killed Disney, and for good reason. Disney, we're in trouble here. And don't get me wrong. Well, okay, obviously nowadays, even when they do make bad stuff, they won't be in trouble. But this was back when Disney weren't all on top of the world like they are now back then. Like, they were legit nearly dead from this. It's like they thought just throwing pretty visuals at the audience would be enough to wow them, but hey, there were movies providing great animation with better plots, Disney.
Yes, another parallel with Square's Dark Age, where Final Fantasy XIV tried to basically give you pretty visuals and nothing else.
Which ties neatly into why it should be a world in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, Tio, I'm curious. Do you really want it to happen just so that they can try and salvage this project?
That and again, I just see the potential. I'm sorry.
You know what? You have your principles and you stick to them. I can respect that.
Well, maybe the live-action remake will. I mean, it can't be much worse than this, surely.
At the very least, if it's at least on par with the Narnia movies, I'm at the very least expecting more exposition about the lore and everything.
I mean, the original Pete's Dragon was crap. Trust me, it didn't age well, everybody. But the remake did a great job in updating the story.
That is true. We have to remember, well, Pedro, but the remake is essentially a different story altogether.
Yeah. The remake is basically a different story. But you know what? Who cares? Just
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I mean, again, we have to remember that in this case, it's an adaptation of a series of books with precise kind of, elements and characters. So again, I get the idea that if Disney, again, wants to take another go, they want to make these remake series, because again, they did mention they don't want to just do one movie, to instead having something similar to Narnia. I get the idea they want to stay more faithful to the source material.
I wonder.
I just hope they don't. I just hope they don't give it the Maleficent treatment.
We'll have to see.
You mean like make the Horn King the good guy and Taran the bad guy?
Would you put it past them, Jova?
You know what? No, I wouldn't. But...
Also, Jova, you want some creepy Dawson casting? Let's throw some in. Apparently, the voice actors of the Princess Ailongwe, I think.
Voice actor? I thought it was going to be X Factor because it's live action.
No, for this movie, I mean.
Oh.
For the princess, her voice actress, despite the character being supposed to be a teenager or the same age as Taron, the voice actress was 34, while the Taron's voice actor was instead 14. Yeah.
Shipping a 14-year-old with a 34-year-old.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the characters or the actors?
Yeah.
Just the actors. Again, this is what TV tropes call those on casting for a good reason.
Okay. To be fair, that's not really the actors themselves are just playing their own roles and that's it. There's nothing.
No. I thought it was another interesting piece of trivia, but continue, Java.
There's actually a similar thing in Recess where TJ is played by a kid, but Spinelli is played by a full-grown woman, and there's an episode where they kiss, but that's fine because it's the characters, not the actors. That's fine.
Go ahead, Java.
But yeah, overall, this movie's just a mess. It's a slog to go through. Any hopes you get are dashed by the end. Look, if you want to see where Disney nearly died, give this movie a look. But that's pretty much the only merit you'll get out of it these days. Tio, next.
Sure, why not? First of all, for another piece of trivia, there's a person that we haven't mentioned who actually did work on the movie. Mind you, it was only early stuff, apparently. Tim Burton. Tim Burton apparently did the concept art, the early concept arts, which would explain some of the designs, admittedly. Also, apparently we have a reason why the skeleton scenes were added that kind of ghastly effect. Apparently, it's a remnant of what was supposed to be the original purpose. Originally, it was supposed to be either one or a smaller set of skeleton, taking advantage actually on 3D to give the idea that we were jumping out of the screen towards the audience. So that there is that. That's the remnant of that. And also another minor thing, I'm about to post also a link in the chat. Pedro, this might interest you. Originally, the princess character was supposed to have a design that apparently was similar to the one in the book. Again, I don't know anything about it, but that's what it's been told, at least from the source, which would have actually fit more the Disney formula. She was supposed to be bare feet, or like Rapunzel, golden hair, Rapunzel, in more drag, in more, poor drags, yeah, like say Cinderella, early stages, and her personality was supposed to be much more cheaper and a bit of cuckoo, a bit crazy, which
might have made her more interesting, honestly.
And compared to what the kind of result is in the movie, where, don't get me wrong, I don't think she's completely bad, but she's very bland when you get down to it. After her initial kind of scene, she loses most of her characterization. But I get the idea that this would have had much more potential as a concept art, as a concept in general.
Why did they change it, honestly? Oh, wait, was it them thinking, Walt wouldn't do this?
Again, early concept, I do wonder if it was a case way to do in the travel development cycle, they decide to scrap and repurpose and everything. Because that's at the end of the day, that's what this movie is. It's a mess. Pure and simple. And it's a shame because, like you said, the potential is gushing out of every corner. I like the animation, the 2D animation, when it's not ruined by the green screen and sometimes by the unfinished lines. But I generally still do like it. Sure, it might be a throwback to the old days and everything, but maybe because of hindsight, considering how these days this kind of animation would be very requested, it's still very interesting to see. You guys did mention the same kind of like in Home on the Range, which does the same thing. It tries to use the art style of the older days of Disney all over the place. But like I said, I like that. The rotoscoping is weird and clearly not Don Bluth, not in the same style as Don Bluth. It does clashes a bit, to be honest. I like the score. Sure, it might not be the most memorable, but it does the job it's supposed to do, to be heroic when it needs to be and frightening when it needs to be. The character design is fine for the most part. Aside from what I just mentioned about the princess character, I generally really like the Horned King design. I like the voice acting for the most part, the only exception being Gurgi. Yeah, but that's mostly because of either a filter or they directed the voice actor to go the same process that Andy Serkis did with Gollum, But that's it, because the plot in itself is a mess. As an adaptation, I've been told it's a mess. As a movie on its own, there's not much, because like I said, the locales are so little. There is definitely action. There are certainly themes about overcoming your insecurities, understanding your place, sacrificing for others, using your wits and not just brute strength to get to where you are. But sadly, there are technically better alternatives for these, and the movie undercooks these kind of elements. I still like the bar character for the more comedy relief, and the fact that he's the one that ends up basically saving the day from the witches. Instead we would have just got the Cauldron. Although from what I'm reading here, apparently the witches were not supposed to be this dickish in the original book. Good to know. The fairies really just feel pointless now that I think about it.
Like I said, Dolly comes with them, and as soon as they get the Cauldron, he just rage quits the movie, only to show up.
Appear at the end where it was, of course, all about a test of character.
Don't... Like,
whatever.
What was even the point? The minute he left, they got attacked by the Horn King's forces. It wasn't a test of character. They were gonna get dragged along either way.
So yeah, this movie is tiring a lot of patience, but I don't really find it boring, especially considering, again, it's more like frustration.
I find it more of a fascinating disaster than full.
I'm probably about to say something potentially blasphemous, but then again, considering the opinion shifted of what I'm about to say, I will probably still take, despite the difference in quality, mind you, I would probably still take this over something like Aristocats. no, again, no offense. The movie is probably better animated and more cohesive plot. But considering how, that movie to me is more boring.
Oh no, that movie is terrible too.
And that's not even counting the interesting things that have been recognized recently about the characterization. I would like to talk about it another time though, because there's something a bit exclusive to my country that I have to mention about that movie. But
Tio, maybe we'll get an Aristocats world in Kingdom Hearts.
If it's something like what 101 Animation were, in a sense of something like collectibles or an Easter egg like that, I can see it working. Again, the first Kingdom Hearts had a better idea for movie placement in a sense of trying to make this cohesive universe where even the stuff that did not make sense to adapt, as a full-fledged world, were still present in some minor fashion as an Easter egg to give you that idea. That kind of thought process kind of started getting lost with 2 onward, but it's again also a story for another time. But no, yes, I also want to see potentially a Disney Kingdom Hearts world out of this. I'm willing to wait to see how the live action remake is gonna be, giving good faith and all. I cannot in good conscience say that I like this movie, even as a guilty pleasure. I liked it more when I was a child, and so it probably also because it scared me. But sadly, it's a problem that keeps aging even into my eyes. This just better stuff, and it's more sad to me that Disney never managed to have a good chance to establish their own major fantasy story, book. Because again, the potential is kind of there. It feels like I'm a fucking Red Eyes Black Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh player, where I constantly spouse potential every 2 sentences.
To be honest though, Tio. All I can think of was that Kansora and or Kairi managed to stay awake long enough by the time they get.
Bold of you to assume that Kairi is a part in this.
It's not Dark Hades. It's not Dark Hades fantasy, but Ryan the Last Dragon is a high fantasy story.
Well, in terms of medieval European, I know that nowadays, probably due to the saturation, everyone wants to try things, and so why Ryan the Last Dragon try to take inspiration more out of different Asian cultures. Okay, if I had to be fair, there are technically both Tangled and Frozen. There are those. And Tangled did actually expanded as a kind of full-fledged fantasy. So impartially they're doing something right. I want potentially something more like this, I guess. I guess that's what I mean. Call it selfish, I don't know. I just don't know. I just know that I want to see this kind of concept realized fully, also for the author's sake. The original author's sake. I don't even know if he's still alive, probably not. But I hope these much like this of Earthsea, that was mentioned earlier before, I really hope, I want to hope this actually will get a proper adaptation as it deserves. Pedro.
No, the movie's a bloody mess because, like I said, things technically happen, but they don't mean anything because the movie never stops for one single goddamn moment to flesh out anything, either the characters or the locations or anything really. The plot points just come and go. The characters are morons. And that's when they're not being annoying. Like it just doesn't work. The visuals have that old hand-drawn appeal, but even that is squandered by incredibly bad use of green screen and unfinished animation. So yeah, it doesn't work at all. Not really, it doesn't work. Yeah, it sure likes to act scary, but it's not scary because there's more to there's more to fear than just making the villain look like a skeleton. So
he's essentially Skeletor's drunk cousin who just lays around his castle, can't locate a goddamn magical MacGuffin that's literally in the basement of his castle, and like I mentioned, for a necromancer, goes for the close quarter combat with the warrior.
But yeah, it sucks. Don't watch the movie, it's boring. Watch the trailer. Well, basically, go to YouTube and search for Black Cauldron 1997.
I'll just put it in the description. Why not?
UK video promo. Watch that. Now that you've watched that movie, watch that trailer with the movie fresh in your mind. You will laugh your ass off as how they completely misrepresent the plot points to make it look appealing.
It's also interesting. We've mentioned it beforehand, but outside of this movie, obviously, bad reputation did not allow it to get, I think, a Blu-ray release. So it was like a surprise, but it was one of the first things that Disney announced to be present on Disney Plus among the the animated classics. So
back when they launched Disney Plus, one of the big marketing gimmicks was all these old Disney movies you've never heard of and shit.
I was about to mention Disney did make like a set of Twitter posts to each one with a movie poster to mention which one was. And if I recall correctly, the Black Cauldron was actually one of the first they did. So it was probably a case of let's just put it out of the way.
Disney Plus release was actually the first time
it's in 4K
into HD in 4K.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful in 4K, guys? You can appreciate
even that is a problem because, as me and Taylor established,
it does.
Now the animation flaws are there, bare naked for everybody to see.
However, I do argue it's the same thing with the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's good for preservation purposes.
Oh, definitely.
So there is that.
I don't think anyone argues against that. So, so yeah, the movie doesn't work. It sucks. What next?
Well, this Halloween is started on a very good tone, I suppose. But, well, for Sheer is the Light, I think I have an idea where we should go next. Something a bit more, cold. She probably like the temperature there. I have here the invitation from the ride. Apparently, we're going there by helicopter. Pilot is called R.J. McCready. What does the J stand for? Junkie? Whatever. Seems to be an Antarctic research station. Hopefully nothing bad will happen while we're there. See ya.
Here's hoping.
See ya.